I'd ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Here.
Councilmember Lizzo. Here. Councilmember Sears,
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Here.
Councilmember Dewey,
Here.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Here.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome tonight and replace or take in the space of John Hessel, Jackie Grace, Lewis Rice. Thank you for being here, Jackie. Of course. Thank you. And one other thing, we've had a request from the applicant to remove Resolution 76, 2022 from the agenda. So do I have a motion to remove Resolution 76, 2022 from tonight's agenda? We got a motion. Is there a second? All right, we have any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Say no. All right, so item 6 under new business is now removed from the agenda. We will go straight to public comments.
The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council to the chief administrative officer or city clerk if action is needed.
There are no comments at this time.
Ready? We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. We'll move on to unfinished business, Bill 10929.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance changing the zoning from R4 Single Family Residential District to RMM Missing Middle Residential District on property known as 10414 Big Bend Boulevard, being an approximately 0.9 acre site on the south side of Big Bend Boulevard, and directing such change in the zoning district map.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo. Yes. Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons. Yes.
Bill passes. I'd like to have a motion to bring substitute Bill 10932 to the floor.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Say no. We now have substitute Bill 10932 on the floor.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance granting a special use permit for outdoor use at an animal facility minor and approving the site plan at 10936 Manchester Road, subject to certain conditions.
And if I'm not mistaken, if I might ask Jonathan, the only change is to the landscaping. Is that correct? Or would you explain what the changes are?
That's correct. From the first reading, from first reading to this one, it was on the request, I believe, the Councilmember Lutzow to add that. So they provided the exhibit for the landscaping, and there was a condition added to require those 3 evergreens. Yeah.
All right, very good. All right. Questions or comments from council on this?
Thank you for looking into this, and thank you for agreeing to make those changes.
Anything else from council? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
No.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons. Yes.
Bill passes. Move to Bill 10933.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance appropriating $305,038 from the fund balance to the Building and Site Improvement Account, project number TR 2301, and accepting the proposal of Mackey Mitchell Architects in the amount not to exceed of $451,523, which includes a contingency of $32,000 for the professional design services for TAP-5502613 rehabilitation of the historic Kirkwood train station, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Have any questions or comments on the bill? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward,
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
yes,
Councilmember Gibbons.
Yes.
Bill passes. Move to new business bill 10934.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance granting a special use permit for outdoor dining and approving the site plan at 11111 Manchester Road, Taco Buddha, subject to certain conditions.
Is there a motion for approval?
so moved.
We've got a motion and a second. On this one, I know there, a couple council members have specific amendments or comments they wanted to make on a couple of topics. So what I think I'd like to do, instead of entertaining motions right now, is we'll go through council and let us all know what the issues or questions you have. And then after that, if it's a consensus of the council, we'll turn it over to Jonathan, the applicant, to talk about that and figure out solutions, and then come back to us, assuming it passes first reading for maybe a substitute bill on second reading. So, and I'll just go by the list. I know Councilmember Lizzo, you had at least one thing.
Right. I just had questions about the internal and external traffic circulation plan on the site right now. We've got kind of a segregated east parking lot, and then the segregated west parking lot with the structure and the outdoor dining and all of that. And there's no room for refiguring. I would just appreciate maybe staff and the petitioner looking at what options might be possible, or, I mean, I'm willing to entertain any kind of ideas. It just seems like some of the options for traffic leaving, and if a new customer sees there's no parking spot on the west lot, and then they have to go back out to Manchester Road and cross several lanes of traffic and blah, blah, blah. I'm just not sure, you know, if there might be some other ways of dealing with some of the challenges on the, as far as traffic circulation. That's mainly my thing. I'm very excited about Taco Buddha coming. I think they're going to be great. Kirkwood's going to love them. Glad to have this site, you know, reused and improved, but I'm just questions about the traffic.
Very good. Councilmember Sears, anything on that?
No.
Okay. Councilmember Ward, anything?
Nothing that as it stands now, I think
Yeah.
it should be approved, but
Yeah, understood. I mean, I just mean potential, issues or things we want staff and the applicant to look at. Councilmember Zimmer?
Yeah, and I agree with Councilmember Lutzo. The flow pattern of this has always been strange. And as much as I would normally support eliminating an extra curb cut, I don't know, it seems like making a right onto this westernmost entrance and then having to make another hard turn. I tried it. It's very, very tight. It could also be very confusing. It seems to me that, one solution is to leave the curb cut and just make this one way on the western lot around the entire building so that there's no confusion. This is, entrance only, exit only, and it keeps the flow of that western lot moving and not to block, because when I tried to turn in, I kind of stopped down on Manchester, and had somebody been coming behind me, they would have had to slam on their brakes. And of course, that's not safe. You don't want to pile up on Manchester. So, my thought was to maybe reconfigure this a little bit to address some of these traffic issues. I think the eastern lot is fine, but you've got two separate, almost competing lots together. And I know it's difficult. It always has been difficult. The last business that was there, it was so slow that it really didn't matter, but I'm hoping you're going to have a lot of good business. So, we want to make it as safe as possible traffic wise. So That's my suggestion.
Good, thanks. Councilmember Dewey, do you have anything?
Other than to agree with Councilmember Lutzo and
Okay.
Simmer.
All right. And Councilmember Gibbons, I know you had something with the alley, so.
Yeah, so making, I was going to recommend that we take out the no right turn. I'm not even sure what you call that. That
Right.
wouldn't allow it,
thing.
whatever that thing is.
The thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that people could then swing around, swing
yeah,
around and
okay.
use this alley and get
To
down
come
here
back.
to the eastern lot.
All right. Okay. Can we have Jonathan come
Absolutely,
up?
Jonathan.
Is what people have said, does it make sense? Is to what we're looking at?
That's a dangerous question there, Mayor. You want to withdraw that question?
Would you like to rephrase it for my benefit? I think the items I heard, I understand them. And we can certainly, I had a conversation with the applicant earlier today too. And I think he's very amenable and open to working to find if there are solutions. I don't know that we will have solutions to all of these items, to be quite honest. I think some of them can be addressed fairly easily. Removing the no right turn restriction is pretty straightforward. Staff, we already talked about that. We don't have a concern with that. The bigger picture of improving the site circulation internally, we will keep looking at it. We've had many discussions with the applicant as well, but we'll continue to try. As far as keeping the center entrance open, there's just competing interests there. So staff, the closure of the center is a staff recommendation. That wasn't a MoDOT recommendation. The applicant wasn't their proposal originally. Staff asked for them to do that. They agreed to do that. And it was due to reducing the amount of conflict both for pedestrians and vehicles. We still feel like that is the best solution, but I know I spoke with Councilmember Zimmer earlier and we'll give that more thought as well. But so those are the three items I heard. Is that correct? So would you all like us to discuss further with the applicant and then provide a response basically before second reading, or what direction would you like us to take?
What I would like, and council can agree or disagree, is instead of us sitting here trying to do this on the fly, is to look at those issues and just before the meeting, just let us know
Yeah.
what your thoughts are. And then if
Okay.
there are amendments, we can make them then. Not necessarily a substitute bill, simply because there may be things that there may be some disagreement on. So if you would talk to the applicant, just keeping these in mind and looking at it and letting us know what you recommend, that
Sure.
would help immensely for second reading.
Yep.
If that's doable.
Absolutely.
Applicant, is that doable? Good, thank you, thank you.
Can I add one thing? I've said this when it's my own similar kind of suggestion to an applicant that, the rules and the process and everything. And so I don't want anybody to think that there's now some mandate to figure out this issue. There's a request to look at it and see if it's doable and possible to address issues that have been identified.
I appreciate that.
That is 100% correct. It's not that, because Councilmember Smith said, well, I want this, means you have to do it, but just take into consideration just some of the concerns of council.
I missed that from Councilmember Smith. Which one was that?
So, no, that's a good point. Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Thank
if I could,
Yes, Councilmember Ward.
and I don't want to appear to make light of this, but I think we're having trouble staying in our lane. It's not the purview or the responsibility of this body to make sure that he has or she has, as an applicant, a successful business to operate. Our only concern is, and we should be restricted to those things that are quality of life, our life safety and health. So entrance, turns, those are ours, but how he structures his parking lot, as long as he has the number of capacity that we require, we shouldn't be in there trying to tell him how to run that business. We shouldn't tell him where his drive-through lane should be. I also think we're being a little schizophrenic, and especially when we got a recommendation coming from a member of this Safe Streets Committee. We worked hard on the NIFR safe routes to school to minimize the number of curb cuts for the pedestrians. You've got NIFR North Middle School just up the street. We've got an opportunity to eliminate one of those curb cuts, and that's a very difficult route that those kids travel with all of the streets and driveways and entrances and exits there. And we got an opportunity to move that, and we're insisting we put one back in because we think it'll help his business work better. I disagree with that, and I hope that we'll have some thought going forward. I trust the recommendations that you made on the initial one. I like the concept of utilizing the alley to minimize the looping on the Manchester, but everything else I think is foolhardy.
I think that's what Councilmember Sears was saying, just things that, because it's going to get brought up here, and I'd rather have the people involved, the experts and the applicant make those decisions instead of us starting to get into it, which is, looks like we're probably going to do, which is what I'm trying to avoid.
Maybe
not.
calmer heads will prevail.
It's the applicant's application.
Correct. Absolutely. 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 Councilmember Litzo?
Some of the strong language that was just used to characterize the discussion that most of us had about trying to improve safety for internal users as well as out on Manchester Road. I don't know that anyone here was insisting on taking out or putting back in a curb cut, but merely to look at it. There are some other considerations with the ADA spots and all of that. And from my 3 years sitting on planning and zoning, these are just exactly the types of things that are considered in that body. How the parking lot is striped and the movement of traffic circulation, both within and without, traffic counts, all that kind of stuff. So these, to me, I would argue that these are actually within our bailiwick, and I don't think that we're trying to be overly burdensome or, crazy bureaucrats posing restrictions. It's just a request to have a look at a challenge site and if there are any possible improvements. Thank you.
All right. Anything else from council? Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. All right. Seeing none, all in favor of first reading for Bill 10934, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Bill passes first reading. Bill 10935.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance appropriating $62,400 from the Equitable Sharing Fund balance to the Police Department Machinery and Equipment account and accepting the single source proposal of Sig Sauer in the amount of $62,400 for the purchase of 80 Sig Sauer P320 pistol slides and optics for the Police Department and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the bill? All right, seeing none, all in favor of first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Say no. Motion passes. Bill 10936.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance appropriating $11,000 from the Equitable Sharing Fund balance to the Police Department training account and accepting the single source proposal of Caliber Press in the amount of $11,000 for the purchase of 2 use of force training seminars for the Police Department and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
A motion for approval?
Motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Gibbons.
I read with interest that we're going above and beyond the state requirement. And I'm wondering if is that typical, or can we be puffing up our chests saying Kirkwood's doing it right? Just very interested in that. Wondering how long is this training? Do we then own it? So if we hire a new officer a week after we provide the training, will the new officer be able to get the training? And I know Sergeant.
Well,
Mer-
I can answer your first question that we always strive to provide an appropriate amount of training. And if that means going above and beyond, we do. And that's determined by the people who are closest to the need, and that is the chief of police and his command staff. And they feel that this is a appropriate use of equitable sharing funds and will be good for the citizens of Kirkwood to have better use of force training than that required by the state.
I mean, I think both of them are things that citizens would be really impressed with. that we're
I think you
doing.
can talk it up all you want. Ms. Stevens. Absolutely. All of y'all. I'll do it.
Freddie can put it out there for us.
There's a lot of, many such examples over a decade or more where have gone beyond, our training has been beyond the basic state.
I think that is something to be really proud of.
Very positive.
They're in November of this year, so they're at a certain specific time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be a scheduled time with 2 separate seminars, so they get multiple shifts. It's correct.
Do we
didn't
have
put
any
it up.
idea what the bar is for the state compared to nationally or otherwise? Is it a high bar, low bar, medium bar? I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't
one.
have an
Yeah,
answer to that.
Yeah. We can find out. I mean, it's something you could ask, you could ask the chief and
Certainly.
let us know for second reading, just, what is the bar that we're exceeding?
Mhm.
Anything else, Councilmember Gibbons? All right. All right, with that, all in favor of Bill 10936 for first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Bill passes first reading. Resolution 74, 2022.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the Municipal Housing and Community Development Cooperation Agreement of 2021 through 2023 and supplemental agreements thereto with St. Louis County with regard to the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended.
Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any questions or comments? Who do I have first? Councilmember Ward.
A question for you, Russ. Do we know what percentage of the allocation we have gets used up with this agreement?
I don't have that specific number, no, but as I understand, we utilized all of our funding that was available in the last year for emergency improvement grants.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just wondering from an administrative standpoint, how much does the county chew up of what our allocation?
I don't have
is?
that number.
As the impact that we have keeps getting reduced because of the increased cost, we might want to look at that and see whether we want to continue.
We can take a look into that. Mhm.
One of those, we need them to
Mhm.
give us the money, but
Yeah.
they might
Yeah,
start
they're
taking more for
they're taking a
administrative
piece off of
things.
the
Yeah.
top, yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Especially when we're looking at trying to retain attainable housing. And oftentimes those are people with meager fund balances to maintain their homes. So
And this is just the agreement to allow us to do it.
That's
Yeah.
correct. This is not
Right.
allocating funding in any way,
Right,
shape, or
yeah,
form.
right. So that's something we
Good.
can look at in the future. Yeah.
Mhm.
Councilmember Zimmerman, and your hand up. I think.
Yeah, just a quick clarification, Russ. This is for 2021 to 2023. This expires after 3 years. Did the other one expire previously,
Yes.
since we're in 2022? Okay, just to
Yes,
clarify for everybody
absolutely.
that the time frame is not, ideally, this would say 2022 to 2024, but we're kind of a little behind here. Is that correct?
I believe that because of COVID, the county did not
County's
notify
behind,
us that
yeah.
it was
Right.
expired.
I just wanted to clarify
Mhm.
that for public.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Member Litzo?
So just to refresh my memory, this is federal money that we county administer,
Correct,
correct?
correct.
Yes, and it's about what, $40,000 or $50,000 a year?
It's a little less than 50, I believe. That's
Yeah.
correct.
46 or something?
Right. And I had asked a question of Georgia, I don't know how many years ago, about administering it in-house, and the answer was much better for the county to do, to handle this whole program. And I assume that that is still the answer, correct?
That is staff's opinion. That's correct.
But the other question that I asked way back when, and I don't know if it's any more pertinent now, is would we consider, because $50,000 back then didn't go that far, because each grant, I think, is maybe a maximum $5,000.
Correct.
So we're talking about probably only 10,
9.
9.
I think we did
And-
9 last
And
year.
if the county gets a percentage for administration, I don't know, because I never asked that question. So nine possible small projects, and as Wallace alluded, inflation and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I wonder if we would have any thought towards adding some Kirkwood money to this program to at least keep pace or possibly increase, add another 2 or 3 projects to it, and still with the county being the administrator.
That's a budgetary question, really. If council wants to discuss that as a prioritization for the future, certainly.
And Russ, maybe you, because I'll confess, I did not read this contract, and I had to compare it to the previous ones. Are there any changes basically aside from the dates?
Not really, no.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Anything else from council on this?
Got a question.
Oh, Councilmember Gibbons? Yeah.
I mean, if we were to put, how many grant requests do we get? That would determine whether we need additional, I guess, right?
I don't know if we know how many applications we get for projects, or
Don't believe I have that. I've got a little information on it if I can get my. One second.
Well, it's clear if we had more money, we could certainly easily market that. Man, without any difficulty.
In other words, we could get more applications.
Okay, we have 5 active cases and 4 cases in paperwork, in the paperwork stage for the prior year's funding. So that is 9. It does not identify how many. This is from Joel Pugh, of Community Development Specialist with the county. It does not identify how many they received beyond those 9 or. So that's, I'm sorry, I don't have that number
Could have
for you.
gotten.
Or if they received any
Oh,
beyond those 9, that is
Yeah.
correct. I don't have that information.
Well, Russ, we expect you to carry everything in your head.
I try to anticipate. That's why I got a little bit of information, but I didn't quite get that last piece.
So, yeah, again, that's a budget thing, that we'd have to consider at some point in the future.
Yeah, we might consider actually asking the feds to increase the funding for that.
process on that would be, or the likelihood that they would increase it, but certainly any possible routes.
All right, so anything more on, executing just the contract for them to administer it and with more to come later possibly? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward.
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Yes,
Resolution passes. Resolution 75, 2022.
Mayor and council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Elliott Equipment in the amount of $266,200 pursuant to Sourcewell Cooperative Contract for the purchase of a side loader sanitation truck for the sanitation department and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Motion for approval?
Move
So moved.
approval.
I've got a
Second.
motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Councilmember
I would
Sears.
like to know if you have it in your magic book. Or,
Probably not.
I thought we were done with riders, riders or whatever we
Mhm.
call the people, but I saw a truck down
Mhm.
And so it wasn't one of these side loaders, is this?
The ones with people on the back are typically the yard waste because
yard
we
waste? They
have,
to get out. Okay.
yes, those are,
Probably was a yard waste.
I would wager that that's what it was.
Okay. But as far as you know, we don't have a.
No, we've
garbage truck
automated,
that-
no, we've
they're all
automated it. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, the side loaders that come and pick
Okay.
up, there's just the driver and that's it.
Got my answer. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, any other questions or comments?
Stephanie answered.
All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Ward.
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Yes.
Resolution passes. No consent agenda items. City council reports. I'll just quickly say, for those who follow, we had a very, very important thing happen in Kirkwood last night down at the Performing Arts Center for the first time ever. You know, we've got a pre-Broadway trial premiere in St. Louis, and they chose Kirkwood, and they had an opening night gala last night, and it was incredible. We had people from all over the world there. We had people from all over the country, Canada, Japan, just everywhere. And so many people who were there have our eyes on this. They came not just to support the Karate Kid team and stages, they also came to see what's this place, you know, what's this Kirkwood Performing Arts Center we're hearing about. And the ones I talked to, and they're not the kind of people who would just say stuff just to make you feel nice. We're very, very impressed with our facility, and this could lead to big, big things. So I think Kirkwood got on the map last night more so than it is. So I thought that was a pretty big deal. So,
And beyond all that, the production was incredible.
right, absolutely, absolutely. Anything else from council? Councilmember Gibbons.
I just wanted to bring up the ARPA funds, and there's so much out there. And I'm interested in what are we doing? Because they are, I think, required to be in soon, sooner rather than later. And how are decisions being made on what projects we're gonna apply for?
Well, I'll let Russ answer, but we have our first part of the ARPA funds, but we've got the second part coming. So tell me if I'm wrong on that.
I believe Ms. Gibbons is referencing state RPA and possibly infrastructure funds as well.
Okay.
The infra
okay.
funds
Yeah.
and the federal infrastructure allocations. There are certainly more funds available for certain types of grants, and we're planning to have a work session with
Yeah.
council 2 weeks from tonight
Oh,
to
great.
discuss
Okay.
and to allow council certainly to help prioritize. And the second part of your question is, how is that decided? It is decided by council.
But our federal ARPA money, we have that.
We've
That was the
received,
5
we've
point-
received our
so-
allocation for the first tranche, and the second one comes in September.
Okay, all right, okay. That means that answer, okay, good. Anything else from council? All right, seeing none. Chief Administrative Officer report.
Well, I've just got to amplify what was said by the mayor and the number of council members about the Karate Kid and our Performing Arts Center and the incredible the incredible involvement of so many people to make this happen. And folks coming from Sydney, Australia, LA, New York, Toronto, and you mentioned Canada, so I don't have to mention that one, but it's just in Tokyo. A huge contingent from NHK Network, which is the Japanese network out of New York City. The fact that our production in Kirkwood is being written up in the New York Times in their Sunday edition.
That's right, forgot about that.
That's huge. It's just huge. And it puts us on the map, but not just us, St. Louis metropolitan area on the map for premier Broadway capabilities. So I'm thrilled about it. I commend City Council on its vision to build that community, that performing arts center to the quality that it is, to be able to host events of this nature. Incredible.
City attorney report.
I have nothing to report.
Oh, come
other
on.
than- Other than to say thank you all for having
Jackie,
me.
have something.
Usually, John usually has a 30-minute presentation.
That's right.
prepared.
Have you seen The Karate Kid yet?
Oh,
You gotta go
We
see it.
highly
It
recommend it.
is, it is, it is premier theater.
And report on it next time.
That's right. That's right. Clerk report.
Yes, Your Honor, I have the report of the June 1st, 2022 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The following action was taken after a presentation by NJL Custom Homes and staff for a 6-lot subdivision developed as a community unit plan. Commissioners Klippel, Scott, and Finer were appointed to the subcommittee. The subcommittee will meet on site June 6, 2022 at 2 p.m. By a vote of 7-0, the commission passed a resolution recognizing Administrative Assistant Patty Dodal for a vital role in the work of the Planning and Zoning Commission during her nearly 44 years of service to the city of Kirkwood and congratulating her on her June 3rd retirement. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes, reception
Long
tomorrow.
time.
Wow.
Long.
Great.
Thank Patty. Lot.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
I want to go back to city council report for a second. Russ just got me to thinking about something. And I'll make just a comment. You know, I think what council decided to do at the Performing Arts Center shows what I think leadership really is. You know, we looked ahead, we had vision. We thought, this is what's best for the community. And I think, you know, the 7 elected people, that's what citizens do for us. And some people didn't like it, the majority did, but that's what we're really supposed to do, is look at something and what is best for the long term for the city. And I think what we did there was just an incredible thing that the city's going to benefit from for decades and decades. So that's my editorial comment on that. All right.
Yeah,
And with that, the next meeting of City Council is 7 p.m., 2 weeks from tonight, June 16th. This meeting is adjourned.